a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Little roller up along first. Behind the base. Gets Paul Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win. See you in Pittsburgh. Can't wait. All the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone.
You're tuned into Game On with Josh Silverberg and Eric Bowe. Talking all things sports. It's
Game on!
Yeah, game on.
Game On, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Thursday to all of you. Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is Game On, joining you every single Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. or whenever we end the show live right here on WWSRN. You can check us out on worldwidesportsradio.com, YouTube, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, all other social media platforms. Of course, Speedy Petey behind the board. My co-host, Mr. Eric Bowe. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I was waiting to see if you named all the places we are. You know, you had a nice 2-week streak going.
Did I name everything? Speedy, I did I? Unless I missed something. I probably missed something.
Unreal.
We have a lot to get to. The Jets have a new coach, Aaron Glenn. The Jaguars need a GM. Trent Baalke out after Liam Cohen takes himself out of the running for the job that he was probably going to get.
Better off.
Pete Carroll seems to be the leading choice for the Vegas Raiders, from everything that's being reported. The Cowboys have a new coach, Brian Schottenheimer, another yes man for Jerry Jones, after the offense regressed this year, and they said, we'll replace Mike McCarthy with Brian Schottenheimer, who was the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. Yes. Leader of men, everybody. Ohio State wins the national championship. Should Buckeye fans get off of Ryan Day's back? We're getting to the Pete Alonso situation. Is he going to the Blue Jays or is he not? Jerks and Profar going to the Braves. Ryan Presley traded to the Cubs. So a lot of baseball news. And, of course, our predictions for the championship weekend. The shocking news, we'll get into it for a couple of minutes this morning. It was a little surprising. Stuff was going on. And if you haven't heard about it, Mariano Rivera and his wife knew about some, I believe it was trying to word it in a nice way, but it's a little hard to do it. I guess sexual child abuse situation in Rivera's church that was going on. Apparently he knew about it and didn't tell anybody about it, that it was going on. And one last thing we forgot to mention, we're going to get into the Baseball Hall of Fame situation. Ichiro getting screwed, why he should have been a unanimous voter, considering he's the best hitter in baseball since Ted Williams. But going back to the Rivera situation, that was shocking to see that this morning. Eric, and I know people keep saying to me, oh, you're a Met fan, you must be like, what? It's not funny. It's not funny at all. I have a lot of respect for Mariano Rivera. When I was interning at the New York Post, I interviewed Mariano Rivera privately, he and I, for 20 minutes. Just he and I. He was the nicest guy on the planet. That's why this is surprising news to see this. This kind of resembles a little bit of the whole Penn State situation with Sandusky, where guys like Paterno knew what was going on but didn't report it or say anything. They kept it hush hush. If this comes out to fruition and it's true, it's going to be a big problem. For Mo, Eric, you being a Yankee fan, I know this was as surprising as anything when this was reported this morning. What were your thoughts when you heard the news this morning about it?
Definitely wild. You don't expect to see the same headline or see a headline like that. You hope to never see a headline like that. And then you wake up and you do see a headline and it makes you think like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So obviously there's still a lot more reporting, a lot more details that I'm sure will be shared. Maybe, we'll see what the investigation shows. Overall, just sad, sad for the world that stuff like that happens. It's something that, come on, we're all humans, we're all people. Be better,
I agree with you 100%. I think what makes it more surprising is the person that who it is, because you would not expect this from Mo. That's the thing. That's the part where I'm just like, whoa. To me, this is and everything. So I don't know. I don't know.
It's
And everything like that. And again, and by the way, we do have a bit of breaking news right now. The Blue Jays and Alonso are in contract talks right now. So Pete Alonso sounds like he's one of the Blue Jays.
But wait,
congratulations to Pete.
You move Vladdy to third base. Does Vladdy go back to third?
I don't think he has a choice, but
now think about that. That makes that Blue Jay lineup a little bit deeper, right?
Well, I'm curious what the Mets is going to be.
Guerrero goes to third base. Bichette. I mean, are we talking about the Blue Jays, being a little bit of a streaky team here?
Well, my question's going to be, where do the Mets pivot? Where do they go? But we'll get into that a little bit later in the show.
Do they need to pivot? I don't think this was the year, right? I mean, you could always get Vladdy trade deadline if you really want him that bad.
Get Vladdy deadline. You could also get him. You could get him in free agency. You don't have to pay any. You don't have to pay
prospects.
I mean, I think what they want to do is they want to see what they have. I think the big key is the guy they really want to see what they have in is Ronnie Mauricio, because when Mauricio came up with the Mets 2 years ago, he played pretty well, and he's been hanging out with Juan Soto all offseason, working out with him. That I think they want to see what he's about, and they want to see what he's got and everything of that nature.
Plus Acuna.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, to me, I don't know. To me, it's going to be fascinating. But like I said, it sounds like Pete's going to the Blue Jays. This is going to be done soon. I'm sure he'll give the Mets a chance to call back. But the Mets are going to basically tell him, we're going to move on. Look, Pete was a very good Met, good clubhouse guy. You saw it this year, though. You see when these guys are over the age of 30 and the numbers regress and you're just a one-trick pony and being a power hitter, it doesn't bode well when you're trying to get guys long-term like that to be on your team. One guy I could think of was a Baltimore Orioles situation with Chris Davis. Chris Davis that front office was completely pressured to keep Chris Davis, right? Speedy, you remember that too. And they kept him, and it was an unmitigated disaster. His numbers completely regressed. He was always injured. I look at it in this perspective, like if the Mets were to go out and get Vladdy, like the core for the Mets next year could be Lindor 30, Soto 26, Guerrero 25, Vientos 24. Like that's your core. Think about that. Everybody under the 30 and under. Like that's a really solid core that you're going to have.
It's decent.
Yeah. I just don't think that Pete. Listen, he's not a Stearns guy. I'm curious what Stearns does here. You know, they have the event that I'm going to be going to Saturday,
What is that?
Day, the Met Amazing Day, which is Saturday, where the fans will be there. I'm sure Stearns is going to be there. I'm sure he's going to get asked questions about it, and everything of that nature. I know Met fans, listen.
Are you going to take notes when you're there?
I mean, I'll try to take mental notes, but it's a matter of
don't drop the ball.
The thing of it is that we all have to understand that David Stearns has a way of building something, and he did it for years in Milwaukee. He was one of the head scouts in Cleveland when they drafted Lindor. Like, you got to let this guy do what he needs to do. I think Alonso, first off, the Mets offered him a 7-year deal last year. He turned it down. Then they offered him another deal this year. He turned it down. So it's a matter of, if you're Pete, I love being a Met. I love being here. And this is what I keep talking. It's the same thing with the stuff with the Yankees. I love putting this uniform on. I love it, blah, 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 blah. It's nonsense. It's the money. But again, Alonso shot himself in the foot by not taking the 7-year deal. Scott Boras screwed him over. And now he's going to a place in Toronto where, I hate to say it, I'm sorry. When he was with the Mets, the polar bear, the nickname, he had the hamburger named after him at Citi Field. He was a popular Met, New York. He's just going to go to Toronto now and just be a guy. That's just what he's going to be now. He's just going to be a guy. He's not going to have the popular face anymore. Because
if he goes and Vladdy leaves and he becomes that Vladdy guy that,
he will never be Vladdy. Vladdy's twice the player he is. Vladdy's a 30-plus homer, over 300 batting average hitter.
If Alonso's hitting 40 bombs a year.
Yeah, but okay. But Alonso also hit near 40 this year. It also hit 220. So I mean, this is what you're getting. And on base of 305 this year. Like, this is what you're talking about.
But you're also talking about the guy that helped you move on in the postseason.
Oh, 100%. He got the big hit that he did. But if you're going to ask me today, who would I rather have, Vladimir? And
if he does that for the Blue Jays, the
Blue Jays have to make the playoffs.
But that's what if the Blue Jays make the play, and Alonso has a big hit, I'm not going to write him off as, he's
so
New Yorker anymore.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Yeah, but here's the thing. If you're Toronto, all right, so you're bringing in Alonso and Santander, but you're going to lose Vlad and you're going to lose Bichette in free agency.
Not necessarily Vlad, because guess what? Vlad can play third base, no?
Vlad's a free agent after this year.
Correct, but for this year at least.
I'm saying after this year, though. You're replacing Santander and Alonso with Bichette and Guerrero, your own homegrown players that you developed. And let's call it like this. Am I taking Bichette? I understand Bichette had a down year this year. It happens. But am I taking Bichette and Guerrero over Santander and Alonso? No, absolutely not. Not even close. And then
you're not taking him in the power department. That's 80-plus home runs compared to what? 30? 35?
With Guerrero and Bichette?
No, you look how many home runs Santander and Alonso.
Yeah, but they don't do anything else. They hit home runs. That's great. They hit home runs. They don't do anything else for you. Alonso had his worst offensive season of his career in a contract year.
But you also had a Blue Jays team that had Vladdy, that's had Bichette, and they fizzled too.
In the playoffs numerous times.
Okay, and then what? Fizzled out, right?
Okay, but do you honestly, you're going to sit there and you're going to tell me you think Alonso and Santander, when Bichette and Guerrero, because Bichette's definitely not coming back. He doesn't want to be there. We've known that.
Look playoff wise, right? What helped the Yankees get to the World Series was the long ball, clearly, right?
Because wiffle ball in right field.
Okay, but now you look at Toronto. Toronto has those guys who can average 80 home runs together, right? And who knows? Maybe Vladdy signs back.
I don't think Toronto's given him that contract. That's the thing. They've already said they've given him what they've offered him. They're not going to go up any more than it is.
If the Blue Jays have a great year this year, right? And Vladdy's on the team, Alonso's on the team, Santander's on the team. They make a playoff push. They sneak into the playoffs. You know, after missing out on how many big key free agents, you don't think Toronto's going to go all in to try to keep Vladdy?
So I'll say this right now. Alonso this past year hit 34, 88, and 240.
Mhm.
Guerrero this year hit 30, 103, and 323 on a worse team.
Yeah.
On a worse team. I mean, and one's also 25 and one's 30. 5-year difference. It's not small.
Oh, now you keep Vladdy. I'm saying you keep Vladdy there with Santander. That lineup gets that much deeper, that much more powerful.
Of course, but are the Blue Jays going to do it?
Listen, they missed out on how many of the big free agents? They missed out on Ohtani. They missed out on Roki. They missed out on all these guys. You're telling me they're not eager to sign a big guy and keep a homegrown guy in Vladdy?
I don't know because they haven't shown any.
As much of a slam dunk.
They haven't shown any. Let me tell you something. You say it's a slam dunk. They've had years and years and years to do a negotiation with Vladdy.
I'm saying I don't think it's a slam dunk. He's going to the Mets as much as you think it is. I think there's going to be push. There's going to be competition for the Mets to sign him. It's not going to be that cut and dry. He's going to the Mets. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, especially
Toronto. We've seen this many.
They need some star power. Why would you not sign your homegrown star power?
Well, my father's chimed in. It's about you.
Uh-oh.
He says Eric is off the rails comparing last year's Yankees to this year's Toronto's lineup. Is he nuts?
No, I'm saying in the playoffs, in terms of home runs, right? The fact that the Yankees were able to...
They also play a different stadium.
Just like
stadium.
Just like Texas in the World Series run. It didn't matter who was out there. They were going to outslug you. I'm saying the fact that now the Blue Jays can add that much more pop and power to their lineup can help them in the playoffs.
Okay, who's pitching? Who's going in the bullpen for them?
They got a long way to go still.
Yeah,
the hitting aspect.
You know what this team reminds me of? You remember all those Texas Speedy? You might know this. Remember all those Texas Rangers teams that had like A-Rod and Juan Gonzalez and all those guys, and they never had any pitching. Period, and they always would finish like in last place.
Bassett.
It's the same
thing. Yeah, Bassett still.
Oh God. Oh God. Okay.
That's a legend.
Okay.
They had Kikuchi. They should have.
Like I've been prepared for Pete to leave for a while. I think Met fans need to get over themselves. You just spent $760 million on one of the best players in baseball. Like, calm down. I understand Pete is a homegrown, and I'm going to name drop. Joe Beningo is somebody that needs to chill the bleep out. Okay? Because Joe Beningo says, I'd rather Pete Alonso than Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He said that. And then I said to myself, this is why this guy should have retired 4 years ago. Because also, this is the same guy that said Jamal Adams should be signed long-term for the Jets. Oh, by the way, really quickly, little bit of advice to Aaron Glenn. Do not give your phone number out to Joe Beningo. He'll throw you under the bus fast. Just letting you know, that's Robert Saleh. He will throw you under that bus so fast. So don't give out your number to him. But and if Joe Beningo ever wants to come on and debate, I'd love to hear it. He thinks he'd rather have Pete Alonso on his team than Vladimir Guerrero. Thank God he's not my GM. Thank God. Clown show. Clown. Vlad is one of the best players in baseball. Top 10, 15. Alonso's a power hitter. Why? Because he's a homegrown Met. We did sign a homegrown Met once. His name was David Wright.
Legend.
It didn't work.
Injuries happened, but he was a legend.
People need to think with their head, not their heart. I would take Vlad over Alonso in a second. No ifs or buts
Absolutely.
About it.
But if you're Toronto, wouldn't you want to have Alonso and Vladdy?
Yeah, of course. But let me ask you: is Toronto willing to spend?
They've been willing to spend on all these big name free agents. Why would you not want to spend on
Ohtani? It was deferred money with Ohtani. And also, by the way, Santander got $61.5 million deferred to him in this deal.
It's a new dawn in baseball.
We will
That's
see what happens.
Don't be do not count out the Blue Jays with trying to keep Guerrero and Alonso if they sign Alonso.
This is interesting. And now Ben Nicholson-Smith, who writes for the Blue Jays, says there is no momentum towards a deal on anybody, and it wouldn't be accurate to say talks are progressing. He writes for the Blue Jays.
Lying.
Tim Healy writes for the Mets. So I don't know. Again, this is Scott Boras doing what he does. And you know what David Stearns is trying to do? David Stearns is going to say, okay. But you want to know more about that Met Amazing Day thing?
Yes, please do.
Okay. I haven't even told Speedy. So, Speedy, you listening to this? This is good stuff. This is good stuff here. Oh, wow. They got the event map up now. Oh, I'm going to get lost. Oh, my God. Yeah, I'm going to get lost in this thing. This is a disaster written all over it. I got to print this out. That's how bad it is. So, tickets were $40. They're sold out completely. I bought mine back when everything was on sale. It's different sessions. We get to stay at Citi Field for up to 6 hours, which is cool. And everything. Basically, you will get to meet up to 4 players and alumni for autographs. You get to go to the press conference room to a Met mini museum and get to go on the stage where the Met do their press conferences. You get to go to the Piazza Club where they're going to have open Q&As with different players, ownership, and alumni, and podcasts. The team store is going to have the biggest discount in the history that it's ever had. Let's see. Mr. and Mrs. Met will be there to take photos. You get a tour of Citi Field. You get to go into the Met clubhouse and do batting practice in the batting cages. You get to go to the bullpen and do speed pitch. You get to go to another virtual batting activity, which will be at the Metro Mart. There's going to be a beer garden. And you get a preview of the Metropolitan Park, which is the big project that Steve Cohen is funding the whole thing pretty much for. His $3 billion project, which is parks, playgrounds, baseball fields, hotels, casino, new Mets Willis Point subway station, bars, restaurants. There's going to be a food hall, and yeah, that's all going to be free parking. But I know everybody wants to know what are the players that are coming. You know, that's.
I want to know one thing before you dive a little bit deeper. You said the bullpen to measure how fast you can throw, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to be pushing, the 60s and 70s? Are you going to get into the 70s?
Maybe like the 40s. I'm not as nimble as I was.
Come on.
My brother was a good pitcher. He could probably get to the 50s, 60s, maybe.
If you get over 65, I will get
not happening.
Gotta start training.
Right. This is a Speedy. So there's going to be over 50 confirmed players and alumni at this event. Right now, so far, the players that are confirmed for this event: Brandon Nimmo, Francisco Lindor, Mark Vientos, Bobby Valentine, Brett Beatty, funny, Jesse Winker, David Peterson, Francisco Alvarez, Edwin Diaz, Carlos Mendoza, Frankie Montas, Terry Collins, Juan Soto, Clay Holmes, Mookie Wilson, and Mike Piazza. Those are the confirmed guests right now.
No Alfonso, no Ordonez.
They said over 50 players and alumni that will be there. Let me tell you something. First off, Alfonso's like a spokesperson for the team.
Todd
I'm
Zeal.
sure he will be there. But the autograph sessions are at 12:30 for an hour.
If you see Mike Hampton, can you give me an autograph, please?
Mike Hampton will definitely not be there.
Come on.
No. He was at Mets Old Timers Day. He got booed. So
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he only went to Colorado for the schools.
Are you going to bring me back an autograph?
You're not even a Met fan.
You could do any Met that played for the Yankees. Like if Darrell's there, Gooden's there, go for it.
All right, Juan Soto autograph coming.
I
no.
won't argue that. Speedy, thank you. Good. All right, good.
They still have Juan Soto Yankee shirts at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Listen, you get it signed for me. I'm just saying.
No, they're actually going to give you a poster when you walk in.
Mhm.
They'll sign that for you, and you get a picture with them. That's what they allow you to sign. But yeah, it's going to be honestly, it's going to be a great day.
Are you going to wear a game on shirt there?
A what?
A game on shirt?
No, I have my Met fleece jacket. I don't have a game on shirt.
Come on.
I have my Met fleece jacket.
Back you, Josh.
I have my Met fleece jacket that I'm going to wear. Melissa has her. You know what I mean? Melissa has her. Basically,
can you wear a game on hat?
I don't have a game on jacket.
Yeah,
I don't have anything. I don't have a game on hat
what
either.
are you doing here?
I'm gonna wear her Met jacket, and then Caleb's gonna wear his. Caleb's gonna be wearing his sweatshirt, his jacket, and he's gonna have his Lindor shirt over it.
So nothing you're gonna wear. It says game on.
No.
No
But we're gonna see you after at the end of the day. We're gonna see you guys later in the day.
But I'm telling you, no shameless plugs while you're there.
I mean, if I had business cards, I'd love to hand it out.
Unreal. Speedy, do you hear this?
Mm-mm.
We got to talk to marketing. We got to talk to marketing. Unbelievable.
Let's get into it. NFL head coaching carousel. Jets. Aaron Glenn. Surprise? Not surprise? What are we?
I'm pretty sure we had this segment about 2 weeks ago, and we said, listen, Aaron Glenn's going to go. And then we said, hey, listen, be careful because this has Robert Saleh 2.0 written all over it. The biggest thing now is you're going to need a strong offensive coordinator. You got to take the pressure off of Glenn to make sure the offense performs. Because think about it. If the offense is trash like this year, then guess what? You're back to square one. It's, deja vu. Here we go again. And I have one beef with this hiring. It has nothing to do with Aaron Glenn. It has to do with the timing. Why are you signing a head coach before a GM? How does that make sense?
So he's going to have say, apparently, in the GM, the final three guys, one of them's from Denver, one's from Cincinnati, and then you have Newmark from Washington. I think the thing that you could take out of this with Glenn, he's a former player. He was an all-pro with the Jets, played under Bill Parcells. He knows the talent. He's been with the franchise. He knows the success this team has had going to the AFC Championship in '98. And he was a part of the worst when they had Rich Kotite as the head coach at one win. So he knows the ups and the downs. He's played under Woody Johnson. They've signed him till 2030. So they gave him a long time. Sean Payton has reached out to him. Sounds like Steve Wilkes is going to be the DC for them, a veteran former head coach, will be the defensive coordinator. And it sounds like, I forget the guy's name from the Rams, the passing game coordinator and the tight ends coach. Or it's going to be Clint Kubiak. And the report is if Clint comes, then Gary, his father, will be the assistant with Clint in the offense, which would be fantastic. I'll take that in a second. Mike Westhoff, from what I read, is not going to come out of retirement to be the special teams coach, but he would help as much as he can and go back to the Jet organization. A lot of these guys they're excited. I don't think it's anything like Saleh, because also here's the other difference too with Saleh and Glenn. Glenn put the pads on. Glenn's put the helmet on. Saleh never did that. Glenn played and coached with Bill Parcells. He coached under Dan Campbell. He coached under Sean Payton. Mm-hmm. Saleh's never played before. Glenn did, and Glenn had success with this organization. Not just team-wise, but player-wise. He was an all-pro, multi-time Pro Bowler.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter if you have a defensive-minded head coach, right? And the offense stutters. Are there not going to be talks right away of, here we go again? The offense stuttering.
The thing I like what Glenn said So before the season started, he knew the Lions had some holes in their defense. You know how coaches are. We expect to be the best defense in football. We expect to be the best, the best. Glenn said it before the year. We have holes in our defense. We got some great players. But my expectation is we're a top 15 defense. I'm going to be realistic with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it because I don't think we're there to be the best defense in football yet. Top 15 is our goal. And then, of course, all the injuries happened. It was 31 different players on that defense played this year. It was out of control. To me, and the other thing is, I think Glenn is going to hold guys accountable. Saleh never did that. Saleh let guys run rampant, and you're going to see it in Jacksonville too. Saleh doesn't believe in he doesn't believe in the mantra of holding guys accountable on the field. He knows it. He said it. They know they made the mistake already, but yet the mistakes were still happening. Glenn was a player under Bill Parcells where Parcells didn't take any of the nonsense and everything like that. So, when you hear all this, and again, I think the biggest thing is he wanted to come here and he wanted to coach this team because he has had success in this city with this franchise. He has, again, been a part of the 1-win year with Rich Kotite, and he's had the success of under Bill Parcells going to the AFC Championship game. So he's been through the ups and the downs with this organization. And if anybody can read this organization, and he's played under Woody before, it's Aaron Glenn. And you're seeing it more. People thought Houston, when they hired D'Amico Ryans and they drafted C.J. Stroud, it's going to take a couple years for it to get going. D'Amico Ryan set a culture with the Texans. They've won 2 division championships since he's been the head coach there. Mike Vrabel's back in New England.
And wait, who's his offensive coordinator?
Josh McDaniels.
See what I mean? I mean, that's the part that they're going to have to really nail the offensive coordinator.
And I think Glenn, from everything I've read is, again, if they can get a guy like Clint Kubiak and Gary is the assistant, I think you take a guy from Sean McVay's staff, I think you're thrilled with that. I think you're ecstatic about that. You are. You're and the thing about Glenn is too, Glenn's going to coach this team because he's given the deep. If you felt Glenn wasn't going to be just the defensive side, he wouldn't hire Steve Wilkes, who's a former head coach. You know what I mean? He would just hire some random guy from Detroit who was like the linebackers coach and be like, all right, you're coming in. Like that's what Rex did at the time with Mike Pettin. Mike Pettin was the linebackers coach with Baltimore. And you hire Mike Pettin, but we all knew Rex called the plays.
Right, but now
Aaron Glenn is going to be the coach of the team. That was the thing that Saleh, like Saleh hired Ulbrich. Like Ulbrich was a mediocre to not great defensive coordinator with Atlanta before he went to the Jets. You know what I'm saying? And then we saw when Saleh left how bad Ulbrich was as a head coach / defensive coordinator anyway. So Glenn wants to coach this team all around. He doesn't want to just do one side of the ball. Like the last few off seasons, he's actually gone to offensive camps and learned from offensive coaches on how to game plan for offenses. So he's learned how to do this, Glenn. He's put the time in to be a head coach. And it's going to take time to build. And that's something that, and a lot of the Jet players are excited about it. If you've seen, if you've seen the Michael Carter, Quinnen Williams, Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, both running backs are ecstatic about this. That's the offensive side. You got, Michael Carter, Quinnen Williams, Quincy, Sauce Gardner. They're all excited about it. All of a sudden, DJ Reed, who was talking about free agency, says the Jets got a good one. Yeah. Now he wants to come back.
But now, the only thing that still kind of worries me, though, is the GM spot now. Are they going to see eye to eye?
Well, he's taking part in the GM selection, which is what Shanahan did with San Francisco.
Partly, I guess, but it just...
Which is what Vrabel, who, I forget, there was another team that did it, but these are normal. This is Glenn actually said, I have to take part in the GM hiring if you're going to hire me as the head coach. The Jets are clearly fine with it. And I like that he's going to be in the meetings for these guys. so they could see eye to eye right away and have the same, the same goal in mind, which is we know what we need to do. And Aaron Glenn's going to be very blunt about things. Like I said, he said it. If you think I'm going to stand up here and say we need to be the number one defense in the league, we have holes in our defense. Top 15 is our goal. I'm going to be realistic with you. I'm not going to sit up here and BS anybody in the media because you're all going to see right through it. I appreciate that. You're honest. You're on. You know what I mean? You have an honest assessment about what you're working with. But again, I think being a player, putting the pads on, it's a different mindset.
You've been in the trenches. You get this.
You've been in there before. You've played under one of the best coaches ever in Parcells. So
don't get me wrong. Out of the coaches and the choices and everything out there for this year, I think Glenn was a slam dunk.
I think he might have more success than Johnson in Chicago. When you hear Ben Johnson's press conference, Eric, you tell me if I'm wrong. He tried so hard to be like Dan Campbell a little bit. It looks so scripted. He's like, Caleb, we're going to go in there and we're going to tear the thing down and we're going to build it back up to. And I'm like, bro, you're not Dan Campbell. What are you doing?
That just means they're going to go for it on fourth down.
Oh, God. Well, I'm just saying.
But listen, with Glenn signing with the Jets, I do think that's a great move. Absolutely. Again, my worries, my little, if there are any, is A, offensive coordinator, and B, is the GM. Because out of all the teams, right, the Jets kind of have that tricky situation where they have a quarterback or don't have a quarterback with who? Rodgers? Or do they shift gears and do they go with a step kind of quarterback, right? A lot of different, right? So that's why I'm saying the importance of the GM, but offensive coordinator, because everyone's going to have to talk and be on that same page. I do think Glenn, based on his tree, where he's been, his experience, will be a good hire for sure. I think has more experience than Robert Saleh does or did. So that's why, but at the same time, just because of their whole quarterback and offensive carousel and everything they have going on there, that's the part that makes me just kind of take a step back to say, okay, Glenn's your head coach. Who's your offensive coordinator? Who's your GM? Which way are we going? Which way are you going with this? You know what I mean? That's the part that you just have to step back and say, is this going to work?
Oh, hold on. Hold on now. Plot twist with Cohen.
Oh, hold on.
And the Bucks.
What?
So it turns out once Trent Baalke got fired, Cohen took the second interview with the Jaguars after Tampa had been trying to call and text him all day and heard nothing from him. Had a secret meeting today with Shad Khan about the head coaching job. So I guess Baalke was fired.
Nothing like being talked about on an interview about possibly being fired and then actually being fired weeks and weeks later.
Also reports are Rex Ryan is the favorite to be the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go. Jets, bringing it back. Schottenheimer, Rex. Mark Sanchez is going to come out of the booth.
Wait, you didn't say Rob Ryan, right? You said Rex Ryan?
No, it would be Rex.
Wow. Wait a minute. I feel like we've kind of seen this before, sort of.
Right, so I guess it turns out Baalke was the problem. I guess that was what Shad said. Shad said, give me a reason for me to fire him after he was standing right next to him. Well, Liam Cohen, I think, gave him a reason to fire him.
Found it.
Well, I guess Sal's going back to the 49ers. Highest paid DC in football. What a mess Jacksonville is. God almighty.
You think Saleh goes there?
If Cohen doesn't go there, it's going to be Saleh. But you go from Woody Johnson to Shaq Khan. Are you really upgrading yourself or are you staying status quo?
Or do you think Cohen takes it there?
I think Cohen's going to take it. The fact that he hasn't even returned any of the calls from Tampa today is beyond fascinating. It's also a little unprofessional, but that's just my take on it.
Wow. Solid defensive coordinator.
Sal goes to DC for the 49ers.
Ooh.
He'll be the highest paid. They already said they would make him the highest paid DC in football if he goes back there. And the 49ers need him.
Hot commodity. But you know what? See the difference? He gets to focus on just one aspect of the team.
I know, because it's so hard to be a head coach and doing multiple things at once. That's what you sign up for. Jeez. I mean, it's the only thing you sign up for, to be a head coach. Oh, really? I have to do both sides of the ball?
Aaron and Glenn, we're rooting for you.
Somebody should tell Jeff Ulbrich that, because he still says he needs to look at the game tape because he didn't watch any of the offense second to last game of the season. And it was so funny because during the Jet hiring process, Ulbrich had his interview and then signed back with Atlanta to be the DC. And my thought process was, I guess somebody knew they were not getting the job for the Jets. That's a fact. So we have championship weekend this weekend. Speedy, are you ready to rock and roll? Because we already know what's going to happen this week. It's so. The guys in the stripes are going to be the ones to dictate it. We know that.
I've been awful in my picks.
Well,
see what my tagline on the bottom here says? Maybe the smart one on the show. Now when it comes to my football picks, I've been
Well, I look at it in this perspective. We'll start with Washington, Philly first. Go Commanders, man. Go Jaden Daniels. Terry McLaurin, what a trade that would by me in fantasy for Najee Harris. Steal.
I don't talk about it.
And I want to beating the guy in the finals. He didn't even play Harris in the 2 games. But Terry McLaurin, man, 15 targets this playoffs, hasn't dropped a single pass. But no, in all seriousness, Washington's been fantastic. Robinson and Eckler together have been great. Zach Ertz rewinding the clock. But Jaden Daniels, what a job. What a job. They went into Detroit kind of like how Green Bay went into Dallas last year and did one rush them. And they couldn't handle it. Jaden Daniels is special. He's going to be a top 5 QB in this league. God bless the Giants in that division now. With Daniels, that Philly roster, eventually went down. I mean, not Schottenheimer. I don't know if that's going to help, but they still have a quarterback. They have a quarterback at least. To me, oh man, I'm going to go with Washington in this game. They're going to surprise. I didn't like how Jalen Hurts played this past week. Hurts looked injured, didn't look good, didn't look healthy, didn't look right. They almost blew that game. 4 minutes ago, you thought the game was over. Rams get it was a safety.
That would have been so funny. The Eagles missed the extra point.
Sirianni wouldn't have been able to tell the tale because he would have been gone after the game was over.
So wait,
ridiculous.
Let me ask you this, Josh, in that matchup. Now, granted, both teams are 1-1 against each other this year. Absolutely. Which defense do you trust more right now? Which defense? Because
I would trust Philly's defense more, but I think Daniels has the thing is these teams know each other.
Correct.
That's the thing. So I don't like, and again, the Rams, and if you saw my Saturday night, I said, if the Rams win Sunday against the Eagles, Lions fans, deactivate your X account because you're not going to want to hear what anybody has to say about Stafford and Goff. Washington really clobbered Jared Goff in that game, though. I hadn't seen Goff rattle like that. It was brutal to watch.
On contrary to belief right now, if you look at the two defenses, who's playing better, you could make the argument Washington's defense has turned it up a notch and is really going out there, right? Like
Jalen Carter, though. Jalen Carter is the X factor for the Eagles.
Correct. So does Washington have enough? Like, to me, you know who I think the X factor is in this game for Washington? It's not Terry. It's not Robinson. It's not Jaden Daniels. It's Brown, right? Brown's been stepping it up with that wide receiver core, getting the targets, getting the pressure off of Terry. Really, really huge in that factor against Detroit. If he has a big game, watch out. Upset City is happening. And guess what, Josh? Guess what? You might not believe it.
You're going with the.
I'm locking in the Commanders too. Lock it in.
I didn't like how Philly ended that game last week, man.
Nope.
I didn't like it. Speedy, you have to admit too. There was a part where you thought the Rams
so funny.
I thought they were gonna do it.
And I'm going to make a bold statement here, Josh. And I'm going to have egg on my face when we talk on our next show of how wrong I am on this bold take. Right? Saquon is not going to hit the home run ball.
He was so good. He was so good though last week. In that weather,
He is
do that
phenomenal.
in that weather was incredible.
If only he was a Giant at one point.
I said it on X. I said, Giant fans, look away. Look away.
That's my bold. He doesn't hit the home run ball. And when I say home run, we're going to say 60 to 65 or more. He might hit a 50. Don't get me wrong. He might hit a 50, but nothing more than 60 to 65.
So we're both going with Washington. All right, Kansas City and Buffalo. Third time they're meeting second time they're meeting in the AFC Championship. I think the fourth meeting in the last 5 years. We know what Mahomes has done to Allen. You know how I knew who was going to win this game? When they showed Caitlin Clark sitting next to Taylor Swift, I said the NFL is going to fix this so hard so those two are together in the Super Bowl in a box in New Orleans. That's what they want. They want one of the biggest athletes, well-known in Caitlin Clark, sitting next to the most well-known musical superstar in the world together in New Orleans. The NFL's going to fix this game. Houston got completely screwed in the last game. I thought they outplayed Kansas City. Would you agree? I thought they did. But Kansas City, of course, wins because the referees do what they do. And I think Kansas City's going to win the Super Bowl again. I'll say it now. It's going to happen again. The Cincinnati one was a rare one. That's the one time I did a same-game parlay. I had 10 parts of my parlay. I bet $10 to win $50,000. I got 9 of the 10 correct. You know what's the last part I didn't get correct? Kansas City losing the game. I even got Joe Burrow rushing for over 10 yards.
Look at that Giants legend Eli Apple.
This game is so fixed. This is going to come down to Bass with a field goal. He's going to miss it. The Chiefs are going to go to New Orleans.
Don't you dare say.
You're going to see more Swift. You're going to see Caitlin Clark. You're going to see more of that. The whole shebang. The band's going to be there. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to be rocking it, going for their third because no other team has ever done it. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs in this one. Until the referees stop fixing the games for the Chiefs, I cannot pick against them. It's the Chiefs and the refs against the Buffalo Bills. It's that simple. They will fix this game hard, especially in Kansas City.
Josh, can I ask you a question? Who leads the NFL in roughing the passer penalties as a quarterback wise? Who gets?
Probably the Buffalo Bills. Oh, Mahomes! You mean the quarterback that gets hit the most? Mahomes.
No. And who gets the flag? Who gets the flag most?
Probably Buffalo.
Speedy, if you can do a quick deep dive in that and pull it up.
Roughing the passer percentage, or I know Allen is the least sacked quarterback. That's
right. Who gets the most roughing the passer penalties as a quarterback?
It's probably Allen. Don't worry, it's going to be switched.
However,
they'll make it fixed.
So here's what I'm trying to say.
No, it's Mahomes in the postseason. 0.412.
That ends that one.
Makes sense. Regular season though, Allen is destroying. However, listen, what do you need? Don't the Chiefs need a nemesis? Don't they need a team that, draw more people in that way? Now listen, you're taking the whole it's scripted and everything else route. Guess what? We put them on the field together. I like the Bills. Defense has been playing well. Cook has been phenomenal. Allen, with quote unquote less talent, is doing quote unquote a lot more. Right? I wouldn't be surprised. Comes down to a late field goal, and the Bills take care of business. I don't think the Chiefs' defense is going to be as tough on the Bills as, say, the Ravens and the Broncos have been. The biggest thing is going to be, can the Bills' defense, I don't know. Now this might sound crazy. Can the Bills' defense just put a guy in cover? Travis Kelce? I don't know. That's the biggest thing. Can you cover Travis Kelce? You have the spy, for Mahomes, obviously. They did that with Lamar. And guess what? They saw a lot of good things happen. I think Buffalo keeps rolling. Feel-good story of the year. I'm locking in Buffalo, Josh. I can't go 2 for 2 picks with you.
That's fine. I remember the name. It's Nick Haley. Is the guy from the Rams. That would be the OC guy. So I believe it's down to Haley and Kubiak for the Jet OC job. With, of course, the caveat is Gary would come with Clint. So that would be interesting. And Pat, right? You had Pat Rosser on before, right? From SI.com.
Pat Ragazzo.
Yes. Yeah. He's confirming that from everything he's read, nothing is close between the Blue Jays and Alonso. So again, Andy Martino, I'm blocked by him, but
That's right.
I mean, do you want to know what his report was? His report, it said the Blue Jays and Alonso are talking contract parameters and closing in on an agreement, but then he said, but nothing is close, and that might mean nothing could happen. What does that even mean?
Hold on.
What does that even mean? You're close, but you're not close. And then you got the Blue Jays reporter and then the Mets reporter both come out and then say, "No, you're wrong."
Well,
and then Tim Healy from Newsday said, "No, the Blue Jays are close with Alonso." And then 2 minutes later, the Met and Blue Jay guy come out and say, "No, that's not true."
Which, listen, there's always that little bit you give a little here and there. Because
I have an idea. I have an idea. Are you ready for a Speedy? You're a Met fan. You should listen to this too.
Oh, what do we got?
On an amazing day on Saturday, Steve Cohen's going to come on the PA system. He's going to say, "Ladies and gentlemen, if you can make your way to the Piazza Club, there's a surprise. There's somebody behind the curtain. And it's Pete Alonso in the new Met road uniform."
You know how many boos?
That is how you get it done. Yeah, I'm not. Listen, I don't really care if Pete comes back or not. I want Vlad back. I want Vlad here. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You bring Pete back and you don't get Vlad?
Oh no, they would still get Vlad because Cohen is Cohen. There's specific players Cohen's gonna want. There's specific players Cohen will want. So there was one I could go where was another one. There are specific guys that Cohen's gonna be like, "I want this guy and this guy." Anybody else you could deal with. But I mean, if Alonso's
I want Verlander. I want Scherzer.
Yeah, but I mean, if Alonso's going to take $5 million more to go to Toronto than stay in New York, as if he wouldn't make that money in endorsement deals with the Mets.
He gets an 8-year deal.
I mean, would give him an 8-year deal. I'd fire them on the spot if they give him an 8-year deal.
No, I'm saying if the Blue Jays give Pete
a
contract in that 7,
that would be reckless. That's what we call reckless. The MLB Hall of Fame came out. Ichiro, CC Sabathia, and finally long overdue Billy Wagner, both into the Hall of Fame. Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones just missed getting in. I believe next year is Andrew Jones' last year on the ballot, but he will be in. Nobody from the ballot next year coming on is. I think right now the headline is Cole Hamels and Ryan Braun, so neither one of them are going to get in. Beltran and Jones will probably get in next year. Who is the jackwagon that said, I'm not going to vote for Ichiro because I want to be that guy.
Could it be the same guy who didn't vote for Jeter?
I don't think you want to hear what I have to say about Jeter, but besides the point, Jeter's not a unanimous guy. He's all favorite, but he's not a unanimous guy.
You're fan the machine.
No. It's not about that. I just don't. He was never even the best player on his team. And he never finished top 5 in MVP. He never won. He never did any of that. He was a clutch player, but he was never. Speed. Do you think Derek Jeter's numbers were worthy of being a unanimous Hall of
Not
Famer?
compared to Ichiro.
No, not even the King Griffey Jr.
Oh no.
All of them should have been. He should have been.
I agree with you.
All of them. They all should have been.
I'm just saying. I like what Ichiro said today. He said he would love to have dinner and invite the guy over to his house who did not vote for him and just have a casual conversation.
I don't know if you take
Because
that.
how do you sit there and you say he's the best hitter since Ted Williams, and you sit there and you say, yeah, he's not a Hall of Famer.
You know, his power numbers were a little low for me. I didn't kind of like his power numbers.
Yeah, I think his lowest batting average, I think, was ever, 320 in a season? Only had over 500 stolen bases, multiple gold gloves.
He never carried his team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He never won a World Series.
Yeah.
You know, those 3 factors, you got to count that, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's 3 reasons right there. Nope. Where's the ring? Where's the hardware? Come on. Where's the hardware? No hardware. Nope.
Well, he did win an
What's
MVP.
his playoff stats? They're terrible. There's not many. You know, I'm just saying. Unbelievable. Why should he be unanimous?
This is why Eric's going to get canceled.
I mean,
But in all seriousness, I mean, it's egregious.
yes.
It's egregious. You're like somebody, like a voter sat there, looked at his numbers, and said, "I'm not voting him in." Like what?
I gave you 3 reasons why. Not
Yeah,
me.
as you were saying it sarcastically, but
Thank you.
I mean, it's just a matter of like, I think CC getting in worthy. He was a clutch playoff performer, pitched a lot of innings, did well, everything of that nature. Billy Wagner, long overdue.
Agreed.
Yes. I've gone on record as I think Billy's almost as good as Trevor Hoffman's been as a closer, and it was ridiculous.
Top tier, but Hoffman and Wagner, they were 1B.
Yeah, CC's going to go in as a Yankee. Ichiro obviously is a Mariner. I would think Wagner's going to go in as an Astro.
Mm-hmm.
I think next year is going to be the year Beltran gets in because there's nobody else on the ballot that's worthy.
Right.
So Beltran will get those votes.
I hope Andrew Jones get
Andrew Jones will get in. He'll get in. He was at 66%. He'll get in. I think obviously Jones will go in as a Brave. I think Beltran will go in as a Met because he had. Well, one, he's not. I don't think he's going to go in as an Astro because of all the sign stealing stuff. I don't think that would look great. But his best numbers of his career were with the Mets,
except for the one playoff run where he just could not stop hitting dingers.
Yeah, it was the half season.
He just could not stop hitting dingers. It was amazing.
I know. Yeah, I don't think it would be in his best interest to go and go in as an Astro. I think the Met would be the safe choice. Question now is Albert Pujols, who is going to be available in 2 years, does Pujols go in a net unanimously?
No. I want to say he gets closer to like 94, 95%. I think instead of one guy not voting,
Speedy, would you vote? Do you think Pujols should be in unanimously? I mean, this is ridiculous.
Jeter.
I didn't throw that shot. Speedy threw that shot in there. That wasn't me.
If
I know
Jeter wasn't,
Pujols and Yachty are going in together.
If Griffey wasn't, you're going to tell me Pujols is going to be unanimous? There's going to be 1 or 2 guys who don't vote in. Come on.
Well, listen, Mo got in unanimous, and then, the story came out today, which was not a great look.
Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see for quite some time another unanimous player get in.
I don't know. I thought Ichiro was a no-brainer. I thought at the time Griffey was a no-brainer. He didn't get in. And then I thought Ichiro was a no-brainer. He didn't get in.
I don't see another unanimous happening for a while.
I know everybody brings up the historical players, the Ted Williams, the Ty Cobb. Well, Ty Cobb was a douchebag, but I mean the Ty Cobbs, the Jackie Robinsons. Well, he was a racist, Ty Cobb. He was a bona fide racist. Jackie Robinson, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, all these guys didn't get unanimous, but just different times. I think two ways you should get into the Hall of Fame is one, you're the best at your position, or you were the best player in your league for quite some time. So to me, I don't know. Look, I also think Bonds and McGuire and those guys should be in the Hall of Fame too. Because let's call it like it is. When was baseball the most fun? 98, 99, 2000. That was great. Walker, Sosa, Griffey, Luis Gonzalez, all those guys were just
asterisk. Call it the steroid era. Totally fine.
Pedro, Johnson. I mean, Pete Rose should be in, but it's too late. I mean, it's too late. He's not here anymore, so he's too late. But I mean, last thing before we get to you better than that. Ohio State. Do we lay off Ryan Day now that he won a national championship, or are Ohio State fans still going to complain about him that he hasn't beaten Michigan yet?
I think you kind of have to lay off of him a little bit, right? What do you want him to do? He just went to the college playoffs. He ran the table. He won it all. And guess what? You didn't see Michigan raising it up, right? You didn't see Michigan after scandals and everything, right? I'm just saying, you got to lay off of him. Let the man enjoy. And guess what? Ohio State is going to be back in the playoffs next year. Watch.
Well, it's not that hard. I mean, 12 teams make it. I mean, SMU got it.
Apparently, you don't want a 1 seed, though. That's the only thing. You just don't want to be the 1 seed in the playoffs.
None of those teams that got the byes made to the next round, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Speedy, none of them made it. Yeah, it's
keep the momentum.
Wisconsin will make it next year, right, Speedy? Thank you for that.
One of these days.
Come on, Luke.
Within the next 10 years, Josh, absolutely.
I mean, they just got to get the right quarterback. And Fickle, well, at least he got rid of Longo finally. And I love how Mabry Mature fouled Longo to like Sam Houston State. He went from a 4-star recruit Mature to going with Longo to be the head coach at Sam Houston State. Good for him. It is now time for our ending. It is now time for our You're Better Than That.
I was so excited I had to run around and come back. Okay.
You could go first.
All right, so we kind of just touched upon this, right? We kind of just had a little bit of talk about it. Listen, there's certain guys who played in baseball, and if you're going to have a vote, it's not just a yes, you're in, and no, you're not in. We're going to talk about unanimous, all that fun stuff, right? How do you not put Ichiro unanimous, right? Is it because of the World Series, no rings? Is it because of look at his power numbers? No, the guy was generational. He was generational in Japan. He was generational here. The guy is a world Hall of Famer. And you know what? Probably one of the best teammates people have always talked about, right? I just don't get it. Ichiro, Jeter, Griffey. Josh, you're probably right. Pujols could be in that mix. Should be unanimous. I do not care what the reason is of why you make it where he's not. Come on. You're better than that.
You're Better Than That is simple. It's the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, so you get rid of McCarthy, where the offense regressed this year. Understandably, injuries happen, but still. But you keep on his offensive coordinator. I don't even know how that even makes remotely any sense, period. But this is what Jerry Jones does. He wants yes men, because when he's had people to talk to him, a la Jimmy Johnson and Bill Parcells, he didn't like it. And they told him to tone it down and stop meeting with the media after every game. It's not about you, it's about the team. And Jerry didn't like that. So that's why he constantly goes to Jason Garrett. He goes to Mike McCarthy, Wade Phillips, now Brian Schottenheimer. I mean, really, Brian Schottenheimer is now the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Let me tell you something. I saw him as the offensive coordinator of the Jets for years. It was abysmal and a joke. You think this is going to be any better? They fired the guy that made your offense regress, and you hire his offensive coordinator. How does that even make any remote sense, period? This is what the Cowboys do. This is why they're laughable, and they're just a disaster of an organization. This is ridiculous. It's a joke, and it's embarrassing. Dallas Cowboys, you know what? I don't even know if you even are. You're better than that. But I'm not even sure you are because Jerry got another yes man. I mean, you could have at least hired Kellen Moore, who's had success recently. Man, I would have loved Dion. Would have loved Dion. To get Brian Schottenheimer instead. Well, that's the end of our show. Check us out on WestSportsRadio.com, YouTube, Instagram, Apple Podcast, Speedy.
Oh, come on.
Speedy, I'm missing it again. What's the other ones? I said all of them.
Did you say Spotify?
I said Spotify. Got to do Spotify.
Apple
See
Pod-
YouTube?
I said Apple Podcast.
Yes, I got the Apple Podcast one.
Okay.
We also do now live stream on Instagram.
I said Instagram.
YouTube.
We got YouTube. We got
I said YouTube.
We got TikTok.
Did not do TikTok. That's
Come on.
wait, I thought that was banned.
For 15 hours it was.
Oh, okay, it's back. Okay, TikTok's back. I believe we're on MySpace too.
Check the archives.
See, Chris thought it was funny. Great show though. Lot to talk about, lot to digest, lot to take in this week.
And Saquon's going to go off now, watch, because I said he's not going to.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that was impressive what he did in the snowstorm. But again, that was a lot to digest. It was a great show. Eric, fantastic job. Thank you to the fans out there for listening and watching us. We're definitely going to work on getting some guests on in the next few weeks.
Some game on swag, too. So when you go to events.
We will do. You know what, Eric? Why don't you get some game on swag and you go to you go do some events? How's that?
And go make some game on swag for Carl. It'll arrive before you're off the mat shirts.
That's right. Still hasn't gotten one. I know.
On that note,
Eric, any last words before we go?
You guys rock. Great show.
He wants Daddy.
You heard that.
Go be with your kid, man. We'll talk to you.
You got it. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. Of course, Speedy, as always, thank you so much. To all the fans out there for listening and watching, thank you so much. Enjoy the playoffs this weekend. What does Pete Alonso do? Is he a Met? Is he a Blue Jay? And I'll recap Amazing Day next week as well, and I'll tell you how it is and everything like that. We'll talk to you then. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. Don't forget to check out all the other shows, such as Job in the Mouth and so much more. You're listening and watching Game On here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car